Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Avi Golhar. Welcome to the Think Realty podcast. In this episode, you're going to learn a lot about apartment complex syndication and how to get started. There's a very awesome industry when it comes to buying an apartment complex. And unless you have $25, $30, $50 million in cash sitting in your bank account, which even if you did, I would be really concerned about why you had that much amount of money sitting in your bank account. You need to be able to figure out how to buy an apartment complex. And that's going to be a combination of equity and debt. Today, I'm interviewing Bruce Peterson with The Apartment Guy. That's apt-guy.com. And he's had a lot of success when it comes to syndicating for real estate deals. And what are some of the nuts and bolts required to be successful in this specific world? Well, that's what you're going to learn today. So before we get to that, I want to make sure that we give a huge shout out to this podcast sponsor for today, and that's Clint Coons of Anderson Business Advisors. He's nationally recognized for providing bulletproof asset protection, tax, and business strategy advice to real estate investors. You can go to getbulletprooftoday.com and receive Clint's book, Asset Protection for Real Estate Investors, for free while supplies last. So make sure you go to www.getbulletprooftoday.com. So after my conversation with Bruce, we'll talk a little bit about what the new energy efficiency grades mean for New York City real estate investors. It's kind of important if you're in New York. If you're not, don't worry about it, but it's always good to know all of this information that's happening in your neck of the woods. All right, let's get to it. Bruce, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, man, thanks for having me on.
You got it. So give us a little background about who you are and what you do.
So yeah, I'm a syndicator. Me and my wife syndicate large apartment complexes, 200 to 400 units. Been doing it since 2012. I'm an old retail guy, so no experience whatsoever. Didn't know what the hell I was doing when I first got started. Found a mentor back in 2011, started teaching me the ropes. Bought my first property again in 2012, a 48 unit. I've syndicated everything I've ever done. I've never bought anything outright. We've always had investors with us. We've been doing it for a while. We have a really good time doing it, and it's provided us a pretty good life. That's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
Awesome. So if I'm let's start off with this question: who's right for syndication? Would it be somebody that has experience as a flipper, buy and hold, maybe somebody that wants to think bigger? How do I know if I'm the right fit to do what you're doing?
Well, that's it, right? So, right, the shameless plug, of course, the book, Syndicating is a Bitch.
Yeah.
That's part of what I'm doing in the book is I'm trying to make people understand that it's not for everybody. You know, everybody thinks, well, I understand real estate, so now I just need to go syndicate.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the natural progression, right? You'll usually start in single family, maybe flipping, wholesaling, single family rentals, things like that. And then you get into small multifamily. You do that for a while. Then you think, okay, now I'm supposed to syndicate. If you aren't good with people, if you aren't a good communicator, if you aren't transparent, somebody that can get out in front of a problem, explain the problem before others find out there's a problem, you know, this might be okay for you. If you have a hard time with that, again, being transparent and being out front, this might be tough. If you can't take a setback, this is not going to work for you because this is a business. This is not a hobby. And not to downplay or slight the single family space, but it is more kind of a side hustle for most people. Some people go out and buy 50 to 100 houses and now it's a true business. But in multifamily, and especially in syndication, you're running an actual business and things are going to go wrong. And if you can't handle a slight setback from time to time, think about COVID-19 right now. You know, I have to explain to investors why we aren't getting distributions, right? They're used to regular, every 3 months they get another distribution check in their mailbox. Well, they didn't get one this past quarter. They might not get one this coming quarter as we try to figure out where we are. So again, if you can't deal with that stuff, this is probably not for you.
That's a really good point. So if you can't deal with adversity, then you're probably not really fit for this space. Because as you mentioned, not everything goes right in a syndication, right? There's always stuff. You'll syndicate properly, you'll follow the rules and all of that, you'll buy the property, but then there are a lot of dynamics, right? Things can happen. Somebody can die in your apartment complex, right? And now everybody's freaked out, and that could yield a delay in filling that unit. I mean, there could be so many things here. And like you said, COVID-19, there are a lot of investors not getting checks right now. So how do you get in
Right. And
front of that?
again,
And how do you,
I think it's an entrepreneurial spirit and mindset that you have to really, really be good at this. A lot of
yeah,
people think, oh, I understand spreadsheets. I can figure out formulas and I know how to figure my return, my IRR, my cash on cash.
yeah,
Oh my God, that's the easy part.
yeah,
Buying is the easy part. Managing day to day is the tough part. Like you said, we've had dead bodies, we've had arson, we've had home invasions, we've
yeah.
had COVID-19. You know, we've had OFAC, a division of government, take $5 million of our money that didn't tell us, just took it. Now I got to go explain that to
Wow.
investors that I didn't buy the property today like I thought we were going to. And I don't know where your money is, guys. You know, 5.1 million of your investor dollars are missing,
Jeez.
and I don't know why. So we
Right.
figured it out. It's fine. You keep moving and everything's okay. But I firmly believe most people aren't cut out to do that.
There are a lot of trainings out there for multifamily syndication. And a lot of the training, and you know this, Bruce, I mean, and a lot of the training revolves around being an Excel tiger, right? Like a paper tiger, right? You're going to run through T12s, you're going to run through P&Ls, and then you're going to check mark all the boxes and compare all the rents to the bank statements and the bank statements to the rents. And you got this, you're spread out in your living room with all the paperwork to see if this deal makes sense. And I know you're laughing because you've done this stuff too, right? And it's part of the analysis, but that doesn't make you a good syndicator if you can't follow through on the fulfillment side and the management side and the communication with the investor side, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So how do I is that maybe one of the issues that new investors or new syndicators have kind of getting into the world? Is that where does that fall on like the top 5 list of issues that first time syndicators have?
Okay, so I'll talk about a big picture, kind of macro, right? So
Cool.
most people that figure this thing out, they think, oh, I really want to do this. I would say 60 to 80% of them saw somebody on a stage somewhere talking about how brilliant this is, how easy this is, how everybody can do this. You're going to be rich yesterday.
Right.
You know, they're selling you something from a stage, and that doesn't make them bad people. That
Right.
doesn't make their program bad, but they're not going to tell you all the crap that's going to go wrong, because lots of crap's going to go wrong, no matter, like you said, no matter how good you are, how many I's you dotted, T's you crossed, how good you were on due diligence. Things are going to happen that you had no idea were coming. And when people get into it and, kind of swallow the hype from the stage of listening to their other students give you all their success stories, but probably none of their students coming across the stage saying, oh, well, I lost a property because of this, or I got sued because of that, or I had a staff member hang themselves from a balcony. You're not going to hear that stuff, because if you do, you're not going to give that person $5,000 to $50,000 for their program. Again, they're good people, but they have a different interest in this transaction than maybe you do. They're trying to sell a product to you, and they don't want to scare you. So again, that's why I wrote the book. I want to make sure people understand that it's a great way to make a living. It's a great business to run if you're the right fit for it. But again, I think it's harder than most people think and believe when they come out of these situations and these seminars.
Yeah.
And many of them that get into it, they go, oh, 6 months in, I just want out. I want to sell, make
Yeah.
sure I don't lose any money for me and my investors. I never want to do this again. So I'm trying to shorten some of that curve for them right now.
And I think it's so if you're hearing this and you're a little scared but you're still interested, I think that's kind of a good sign, right? So explore that side of you a little. But if you just know at the end of the day this is just not for me, hey, that's great. I mean, we have a bunch of other amazing guests that have been that I've interviewed and that Eddie's interviewed for the Think Realty podcast. So go to thinkrealty.com/podcast and go find something else to watch, right? This is not a pretty conversation. Like, this conversation is real, and it stings and it hurts, especially if you're not cut out for it. And so that might be answering your question right there, right? That's super, super important.
Right. It's about being self-aware, and that's
Yeah,
another huge portion of it. And a lot of people are not self-aware. They don't really know who they are. They don't know their strengths
yeah,
and their weaknesses. Or what's very common, and I fight this too, we all do, it's human nature. We lie to ourselves. Oh,
yeah.
I can do that. Can you
Right.
fire a management company? Or if you have your own management company, can you fire a staff member? Can you fire an investor? Because
Right.
if there's an investor that's not a good fit for you, personality wise, you have to find a tactful yet kind of firm way of saying, look, man, this is just not a good fit. There's plenty of other deals out there, but Mr. and Mrs. Investor, I don't think this one is right for you. So I wish you the best of luck. If you can't do that kind of stuff, and again, be real with yourself. Don't try to sell yourself on some crap that's not true, because
Yep.
it'll bite you in the butt pretty hard later on down the line.
How do I start the process of syndication? So let's say that I've convinced myself I'm going to give it a go. And I've listened to Bruce and I'm listening to this podcast. I'm like, Bruce, I'm ready. Bring it, right? What's the next step for me?
Okay, and again, I put this in the book. My book is not going to teach you how to invest in real estate at all. I'm assuming if you've come to this advanced version of investing in real estate, well, you already know how to invest in real estate.
Yes.
So now I'm going to show you how to exponentially grow your business. But so the first step, assuming you know how to, and run your numbers, you know how to lease a property, you know how to maybe do an eviction, all that stuff. Well, now you got to figure out, okay, I do want to do it. So I got to go meet a lot of people. So it's all about going to all the Think Realty events that come up, anything virtual you could find, especially now being virtual.
Yeah.
But surround yourself with people and just get it out there in the universe that this is who I am. This is what I aim to do. Have a clear understanding of what it is you're trying to do so you can speak intelligently about the fact that you don't know what you're doing, but you have a plan. So
Yes.
go out to all the meetups you can find, all the seminars and the expos, and just start meeting tons of people. Meet the people and get soft commits on what people may be willing to invest should you find a deal that they like, and then go find a deal. People ask me all the time, deal or people? People or deal? People always. If you
People
get a
always.
deal with no people, there's a very good chance legally you can't go raise money now because you did it in the wrong order. And
Mm,
even if you can, well, now you've got a gun to your head and
that's
a
right.
timeline that you really have to nail, or you got to back out of a deal. And now you're going to start damaging your reputation in the industry. So always find your investors first.
So everybody that I've talked to, and myself included, we have really terrible stories as investors and mistakes that we've made in this arena. What have been some of yours?
Some of the biggest mistakes. This is very tactical, right? Well, two things. One funny one. I talked about the government taking $5 million of my money when I did a wire transfer to buy a property. I
Right.
learned the very painful lesson: file your DBA paperwork after you've closed on the deal. Because what happened is they compared the names of the sender and the receiver of the wire to a list of known bad actors nationally or internationally, actually. And they're trying to combat money laundering, wire fraud, all that stuff to fund uh, drug cartels and terrorist organizations. Well, the name of the property that I was buying was the name of a known drug cartel in Colombia. Well, of course, that's going to hit. And so they grab my money and sit on it for a while to figure out
Holy
what's going
cow.
on. Well, so now I've learned, close on the property because it doesn't have the name of the property in the wire, and then file my DBA, because our company was
Mm.
PRB Equity 16A DBA Vizcaya Apartments. Well, Vizcaya was the name of a known terrorist organization or drug cartel. So if I would have
Ugh.
waited to file my DBA until after we closed, I would have never had that problem. So that was probably the
Wow.
biggest thing I learned. And then on due diligence, look at bathtubs. That I talk about that all the time. Look at bathtubs. Make sure you search the bottom of the bathtub, make sure there's no cracks, make sure there's no holes. Because a lot of these things are made out of plastic and fiberglass and they fail over time. And if you don't know to
Mm.
look for those things, and you don't find out that there's a problem until something blows up on the person living below another person upstairs with a bathroom right above their head, well, now you've got thousands of dollars worth of damage. Where if you would have known about it going in the front door, you could have repaired that thing for a couple $100.
Right.
So, that was a very detailed, specific thing. But look at your bathtubs.
So what holds most people back? Because what you're saying sounds scary, right? Like $5.1 million being just, I don't even know where it went. And you have to explain that to investors. Like, hey guys, here's the situation. I don't know what to tell you. So my plan of attack is I'm going to first eat a Snickers bar and then I'm going to go figure this out, right? Like that just seems like horrendous. Holy cow. So what
Yeah,
holds most people back? Is
well,
it
it
that, or
creates
is it the
sleepless
mindset, or
nights, and it creates a little bit of drinking on the side, but
right?
trying
What's
to
your
cut
vice? Whiskey, vodka, tequila, right?
bourbon
Just
all day, brother, bourbon
there you
all
go.
day.
Yeah,
But so what holds most people back is just fear.
yeah,
You're listening to me or somebody that will tell you the truth like me. Again, I love what I do, and I think everybody should do it. I really do, but I
yeah,
think most people shouldn't. But now hearing this, now a lot of people are probably even going to go too far the other way and lock themselves up completely. They can't do this. So Henry Ford said, "If you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always
always
got."
gotten.
If
Yep,
you're not happy with where you are, if you don't like your financial status, if you don't like where you are with regard to work, with your family, with traveling, with giving to others, you got to make a change. And if you're too
yep,
scared to forego the what you think is a guaranteed paycheck and benefits, health benefits, I can't leave that stuff because that, well, then I don't know what to tell you, because first of all,
yeah,
you can be laid off. Nobody owes you a job, right?
yeah,
So anything can happen. And do not let a fear of not having insurance rule you, right? Because you can get your own insurance. So again, it all boils down to fear. It's people are scared to do something
yeah.
they've never done. I have people all the time in single family. Bruce, I can't do multifamily. Why not? Because I don't know how. Did you know how to flip the first house or buy the first single family rental? Well, no. Well, but how is that any different? You were successful at that. You just need to learn a new skill. That's it. So again, it's fear. Almost every single time it's fear.
Didn't Kiyosaki have something? He said something about fear, or maybe this is Tony Robbins. I don't know. It's been used and you reuse so many times. It's false events appearing real.
Yep.
I think that's the acronym. But
Yep. You talk
it's interesting.
yourself into stuff all the time, or talk yourself out of stuff all the time without
Yep.
even trying. Wayne
Yep. That's
Gretzky
right.
is 100% of the shots you never take. Get
Yep.
out there and try. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Right.
As long as it's not going to put you or your family under a bridge
Right.
or take the ability to buy food away from, well, then just
Just
get
do
out
it.
there and do it.
Right. Just do it. And then just remember to do the DBA after the closing, and you'll be okay.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. See, that's a key thing, right? It's kind of a side talk here, but
Yeah.
find a mentor. Please find a mentor. Do what I'm
Yeah.
talking to you about in the book. It's very profitable. It's very rewarding. It's a great thing to do, but it's only a book, right? The people on
Yeah.
stage, they're only people on stage. Then you got to go out and execute. So you need to find a mentor to walk you through this. Now, you might be able to find somebody that won't charge you anything, and that's great. But don't be afraid to pay people for their knowledge,
Yeah.
because they can shorten your timeline. They can remove a lot of frustrations. They can avoid a lot of the mistakes that you will make because they've made them. And, Tony Robbins, model yourself after somebody else. Napoleon Hill, same thing. Find models, find mentors, coaches that have done what you're trying to do, and just copy the crap they're doing. So
Yeah.
I can't not implore you enough. I'm not looking to be your mentor. Don't take me wrong, but you need to have somebody in your back pocket that you can pass things by.
Boom. Bruce, this was fun. I appreciate the insight and just the real talk, right? Because that's what it is. At the end of the day, you have to have a conversation with yourself, your loved one, whomever that's willing to support you and say, this is what I'm going to do. And most importantly, yourself. And stand up on your own 2 feet, because you realize that the person that's staring back at you in the mirror when you brush your teeth in the morning, that's the person that you can ultimately depend on. Bruce, thanks so much. If you want to get in touch with Bruce Peterson, the best way to do that is his website called Apartment Guy, but you want to go to www.apt-guy.com. So apt-guy.com. Bruce, thanks so much for the insight, man. I appreciate it. Think Realty Nation, this next segment is brought to you by AaronBChapman.com. Bypass all of the overcomplications of the common suit and tie mortgage guy and connect with Aaron Chapman and his team of real estate investment finance expert at Security National Mortgage. No fluff, no complicated industry speak, just brutally direct action. Visit AaronBChapman.com today for more info. That's AaronBChapman.com. So we're talking about New York City for a quick second, and new efficiency grades mean what for real estate investors? Generally, that means more cost, right? That happened in California. They said, all right, we're going to solar panel all the roofs. Well, all right, that cost now is automatically passed to the person buying the house. But there's kind of some interesting information here on Forbes, quote, New York's regulatory push towards sustainability is a challenge for real estate investors? Well, of course, it's New York, and unless you want to pay upwards of $3,000 a month in rent, then you might want to reconsider moving there. But affordability is something that they're paying attention to. Even so, this also opens a new way for growth in the sustainability building market. Data from a recent urban green forecast indicates that if all buildings optimize their efficiency and adhere to the carbon caps, that New York City could host up to $24.3 billion in energy retrofitting, that energy retrofitting market by 2030. So it's kind of crazy. And moreover, this forecast by Urban Green states, quote, the new law could trigger a 13-fold increase over today's annual market, depending on how soon owners begin investing in their properties. I think there is a real value play here. Look at this regulation, check out what New York City is doing, and maybe make money from it. I don't know, I kind of find it interesting. I know there are a lot of roofers in California that are smiling from ear to ear. That's for certain. I wish I was a roofer in California. Actually, no, I'm too pretty to be a roofer. I can't even I don't know, do a bicep curl with a sledgehammer. I'm not doing that. I'm too white collar. All right. That being said, I got to run. I know you have to run. But before doing that, I want to close out the show with today's podcast sponsor, Clint Coons of Anderson Business Advisor. He's nationally recognized for providing bulletproof asset protection, tax, and business strategy advice to real estate investors. So go to www.getbulletprooftoday.com and download his book, Asset Protection for Real Estate Investors, for free while supplies last. Think Realty Nation, it's been fun. Learned a lot from Bruce, my guest, about syndication. If you want to get into the syndication market, have a real talk with yourself, and then get going. Until next time, Think Realty Nation, happy investing.